This is the story of two movies. One from an award-winning documentarian, the other from Trump's propaganda muppet. Death of a Nation is the fourth cinematic outing from author, political commentator, and maker of things that are legally movies, Dinesh D'Souza. His previous film subjects include Obama wanted to undo America because his dad hated colonialism. There are benefits to eating fast food all the time. Republicans aren't the racists, the Democrats are. And his latest film, Death of a Nation, is about how liberals are not only Nazis, but too Nazi for even the Nazis. You may also know Dinesh from mocking school shooting survivors or the time Trump pardoned him for breaking campaign finance laws.
Real piece of work.
And Fahrenheit 11/9 is the 10th documentary from Michael Moore, a man who's made a career out of taking the piss out of Republicans. Michael Moore can also be manipulative, self-righteous, and his antics are frequently pointless gestures that he only does for the sake of doing. And even though one movie is pro-Trump propaganda and the other is anti-Trump propaganda, the two films have an odd amount in common. Both films start off talking about the 2016 election. Both films will lose Best Documentary to Won't You Be My Neighbor, not that one ever stood a chance. And both films compare people they don't like to Hitler and the Nazis. And let's just hit the nail on the head here. Comparing your political opponents to the Nazis or Hitler is one of the most pointless things anyone can ever do. Both sides of the political spectrum can cherry-pick facts as much as they want, but there was more to the Nazis than racist rhetoric and banking regulations. And until an American president is forcing social minorities into gas chambers while waging war against the rest of the world, no one in America is Hitler, or even Hitler Light, though we do have diet Nazis to spare.
Will not replace us! You will not replace us!
For fairness' sake, though, Fahrenheit spends much less time on the Hitler comparisons and actually takes a lot of shots at modern Democrats, including Obama.
And this used a filter. The water around this table, was Flint water that was filtered.
While Dinesh spends most of an hour calling anyone pro-gay a Nazi, while never once saying a bad word about Republicans. So while one of these movies is definitively more partisan than the other, the less partisan one is still pretty divisive and immature in its portrayal of its political opponents. And both films ignore some hard facts. The real truth being that both American political parties have been on the right and wrong sides of history at different times on different issues. And the same goes for the politicians within those parties. And for the record, I enjoy Michael Moore's work, if for no other reason than he's surprisingly funny. But I'm gonna call him out if he's gonna run around calling people he doesn't like Nazis and Hitlers. Also, Trump is not a Nazi. He's a fascist. Even if Dinesh likes to say fascism is a liberal thing, which it's not. And again, just for the record, Dinesh, trying to redefine fascism to hide the fascist tendencies of your fascist friends is one of the most fascist things you could ever do, you dingus. Right up there with working for a fake school to indoctrinate people with false definitions of things. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. Dinesh does that on a regular basis with PragerU.
He's a fascist.
And wait, wasn't there another guy recently who got in trouble for doing a fake school? And look, Michael, I get it. Calling someone a Nazi is way sexier than calling them a fascist, because everyone knows what a Nazi is. Well, fascism is a little more hard to define. But Michael, you're a documentarian by choice. Your job, the one you chose, is to inform people and educate them with factual films that are dramatic. So instead of going for the easy clickbait route of documentaries, how about you actually try teaching people a thing or two of relevance? And Michael, because you're so totally watching this, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Because unlike Dinesh, Michael, you can do better. This video was the product of me trying to do a thing about how propagandic Dinesh can be, and how much he tries to borrow from Leni Riefenstahl, a fascist propagandist from Nazi Germany. But then Fahrenheit 11/9 happened, and suddenly my plate had a whole lot more American propaganda.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
And while making this newest version of this video, this got a limited release.
The Commander-in-Chief prophecy?
God is telling us to pray for our country, its leadership, and those in authority over us. That's what we need to do.
They're going at him tooth and claw. What if I'm wrong?
If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then will I hear from heaven and heal their land.
A movie about a PTSD-stricken fireman who claims God told him in 2012 Trump would become president and heal America. AKA more propaganda for the fascist president of the United States of propaganda. Wunderbar! And oh my god, with everything I've said so far, I haven't even found time to mention the epidemic of conservative pandering religious propaganda like God's Not Dead that comes from the same people who produced Dinesh's movies. And I don't really have anything grand to wrap up with here. Just be better, guys. And I mean that for both myself and all of you and others. We all need to be better. We really do. We need to stop settling for things because the other choice is something we've labeled differently than we've labeled ourselves. We need to be more skeptical of the things we support, not taking everything at face value. And we all need to agree collectively that anyone who spends a job interview screaming about conspiracies and a love of beer probably shouldn't get that job.
A political con job orchestrated by the Clintons and George Soros and Kathy Griffin and Mr. Ronan Sinatra. Now, I am usually an optimist. I'm a keg is half full kind of guy.
Because if we can't do these things, there's no hope for any of us. Not that there was ever hope for Dinesh, but hey.